Oftentimes, whenever a natural disaster such as a devastating hurricane, winter storm, or a severe thunderstorm occurs, the general public and many meteorologists jump to the conclusion that it is the result of climate change, specifically man made climate change. But are global climate shifts really the answer for these events? And if so, are humans actually at fault, or is this just part of a natural cycle? In September 2014, the Weather Channel gathered their hurricane, winter storm, and severe weather specialists to make predictions about the future characteristics of such events, with a setting in the year 2050. It turns out that more extreme weather isn't necessarily a sign of global climate change.
Well, the answer is we really don't know. The data, our historical data, the database is not good enough to tell us. And then if you consider alternatively the physical processes that you need to get tornadoes, even there's a competition. You need warm, moist, unstable air to make the thunderstorms. We know we'll have more of that. But the wind shear that you need to get those thunderstorms to rotate, that may go down as the jet stream actually migrates farther into the northern latitude. So the jury is still out even there in terms of how tornadoes will respond.
Chris, we know that the number of hurricanes goes up and down year by year, and that's a difficult thing to predict. But there's no definitive evidence that climate change is related to that in terms of what we see right now. But when we look to the future, we do see some evidence that the climate and the way it's going to change might have an effect on hurricanes in the year 2050. Here are a few of the things that we think we know. First of all, we think we know that the oceans are going to get warmer, and a warmer ocean, we think, will contribute to more storms. So we put two pluses there, indicating that will be a significant influence on an increasing favorability for the development of hurricanes. Now, another thing we think we know is that the overall atmosphere is going to get warmer. You might think that that would also encourage more hurricanes to develop, but we think not. We think that would be a negative because it's actually the contrast between the warm ocean and cooler air aloft in the atmosphere that tends to increase development of hurricanes. So we have 1x there indicating a somewhat negative factor. Now, another thing that we think will occur is an increase in upper level winds dipping down into the tropics, and we think that would be a significant negative influence on the number of storms developing in the tropics. So when you add all that up, here's the bottom line. A double plus for the warmer ocean, a single X for the warmer atmosphere, and a double X for the stronger upper level winds. So the net of all that, we think the indications are fewer but stronger hurricanes. Because when the conditions all come together, you have that warmer ocean to fuel a stronger storm.
The opposite of which occurred. The new 30-year averages for the Atlantic hurricane season show an uptick in the sheer number of named storms, but no substantial increase in how many actually go on to become hurricanes. In addition, it is important to include more than just one region in your research when considering global trends. Historically, the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific hurricane seasons are typically complements of each other. An active season in one basin usually comes with a rather quiet season in the other. For example, the 2014 Atlantic hurricane season didn't even make it to 10 named storms, while the Eastern Pacific had a fiery season totaling more than 20. Most recently, in the record-breaking 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, the Eastern Pacific only had 4 hurricanes and 3 major hurricanes. Similar results can be found for most other years, proving that a busy season is not necessarily abnormal. The quantity of destructive weather events is not the only metric for measuring climate change, however. The amount of carbon in the atmosphere is generally regarded as an important factor. In this graph, the top line is the level of carbon and the bottom line is the temperature. Throughout most of history, changes in the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere dictated the increases and decreases in temperature. This is true until you get towards the end of the graph, where carbon level skyrockets while the temperature fluctuates some, but is stable over time. Now keep in mind that the scale is in thousands of years, which means that this point was approximately 50,000 years ago, and right here was around 20,000 years ago. So for most of the time humans have been in any type of civilization structure, carbon has steadily increased, so this is nothing new. Meanwhile, the temperature went through cycles, but remains stable when you straighten out the curves. All of this is to say that the concept of global climate change has been insufficiently proven, and even if climate shifts are occurring, there is little evidence that it is caused by human activities or that we can do anything to curb the changes. Thanks for watching. If you found the video informative, please give it a thumbs up or a rumble if you're on that platform, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends on all the other social media platforms.